Welcome back to another episode. It has been a while. This is another how-to video, and today we're installing a rhino rack onto the mighty baller hauler. We got this from Auto One, so again, thank you guys for supporting us. So now this is going to be a quick how-to video. We have installed the rack before, but we haven't actually filmed it, so we have a rough idea what we're doing. But yeah, we're going to take you along the journey this time. So hopefully we do a good job explaining and it can help you guys install one yourselves. So here we have a rhino rack, flat rack, as you can see from the picky right here. So this one will actually sit super low to the roof and doesn't have the side rails. So, or this one might, I'm not sure. But they're designs that you can then go into garages and that. You don't have to worry about like ripping the tops off them. So these are a good rack. They are a bit pricey, but yeah, you pay for what you get. It's a really lightweight rack for the strength of it, because I believe it's all made out of aluminum, which is tremendous. Okay, friends. All right, so to get these racks off from up here, you actually have to go from inside the car itself. Now you can peel all this back, but be careful because there's an airbag that sits up in there, and that can, you don't want to be damaging that. So
can go boom.
Can go boom. So now we're going to disconnect the battery just because we're stuffing around near an airbag. We're not 100% sure if it's necessary, but we'd rather be safe than sorry. So we'll get that done, and then we'll start poking around near that airbag. There are, what we can see, there's 2 bolts that go up, and they're 10mm bolts. So we'll go smash them out, and then there should be 2 at the front as well. So we'll get those out, and then the whole rack should just pop off. Up in there. Get them? Boom. So you got 2 bolts in there, and see, now that's loose to move around. Now let's go to the front. So the screwed bolts, nuts there, the nuts you're looking for are going to look like that. So they'll be up in the thing. You probably won't see much of them, you might feel them, so that's what you're looking for. Yeah, up behind the airbag, up in there. So that's what you're looking for, and then at the front we'll get that apart and we'll show you where they are. And this will be the same for both sides obviously, so we're not going to go over each side. And up in there is where the other one is. You should be able to line it up obviously with where your top of your rack is seated. That's where the bolts are going to be put through. So pretty straightforward. We won't dwell too much on this bit, so we'll just get that off and get the rack off and then show you what the next bit is. And there we go. One factory roof rack off, and up there is where they were. So hopefully we can utilize most of these holes, but I know there are some racks you need to drill new holes in, so when you do that, make sure you have shit to conceal it all up properly, because you don't want to have like water getting in and it rusting. All right, that's the second rack off. Now we've just discovered some sad news, bit of bad news. The rhino rack racks that we need to fit don't line up at all, so we're going to have to drill every one of the holes. So that's a bit of a pain in the ass, but life in the big city. All right, so that is the rhino rack rail in the gutter. So that's the standard one. So this rhino rack will actually fit where it needs to fit on the factory stuff. That was terrible explaining. But basically, this bit here will replace this bit. So we've got some measurements we need to make. So we've got the ruler, we'll go through those measurements in a second. Basically, this is designed to fit on something that hasn't already had a rack on it. So if your car already has the factory racks on it, you're gonna have a few issues like what we have. We've had to cut down some of the bits so that it will fit. We can go through that a bit later. But yes, we'll go through. The instruction manual will have all the measurements you need to make to get this in the right spot, but we just wanted to tell you guys what we've found at least. Make sure you clean the inside of your rack too before you chuck everything on, because you don't want any shit in there. And you will need to silicone up any holes that obviously are formed from the old rack. Give us a smile, mate. Make sure you always use a center punch before you start drilling holes.
Can't find a center punch, she's screwed up.
Oh dear. As for the measurements, yeah, read the book. We're not going to go through the measurements because they might be slightly different. So just, we're going to get so much hate for using a screwdriver to center punch holes. So far, only this hole here lines up. So you know if this back hole lines up, then you're in the right spot. It'll line up there. So, yes. Also, this is what we're talking about. Clean all this shit out and then put some silicone over the holes that aren't going to be in use. And also, I'd put some silicone over the whole bottom thing anyway, just to help seal it, because end of the day, water's going to get in here and you don't want it dripping through because that goes straight into your cab. That'll be the same at the front. As for that, we're going to have to do the same thing on this side. We're only going to go through instructions on one side because it's identical. It's a roof rack. And then it'll turn out something like that, which is delicious. All right, this is the worst bit. I know what you're thinking, drilling into a nice new car. What is he doing? All right, so now we've drilled all our little holes in here that line up with our whatever you call that, rack insert. You have pot rivets. Normally with the other car, we didn't use pot rivets, we used nutserts. They are better, but with this particular installation, we can't use nutserts because the design of it won't slide properly. So we're using the rivets that are supplied with the kit that'll go in here. Make sure you use some sealant on them anyway because it's open holes into your cab. So we'll put a bit of sealant on, then we'll put the rivet in with the rack on and rivet it all up and she'll be sweet. Like I said before, put a bead of juicy goodness down here to help seal it. And yeah, we'll cut back to once it's all on the car. Okie dokie, so Rhino Rack supply these, what we would call like a silicon supplement, if that's what you'd say. So instead of putting a bead of silicone down the whole thing, you can just put those in there. It'll seal on the holes, which is going to work well for us. So that's mainly for if you haven't got the kits that come with this stuff, run a bead of silicone, but we've got this stuff. So now we're going to put it on and rivet it down. Here we go. Quite straightforward. Push the guttering down, push the rivet into the hole, get your rivet gun and give it a good pump. Pump it good. You need a bigger pot rivet gun, mate. This thing's maybe also rivet the other end too, just so it doesn't do what it's doing. Okay, so what we need to do, we'll rivet this back one partially, and then we'll rivet the front one, just so it keeps it even. Also make sure to put a rag down under your tools that you put on your bonnet, roof, whatever it is, just to make sure you don't scratch it. And then we'll partially do the front one, then we'll partially do one in the middle here. That way it evenly pulls it all down. If we just do one at the back, it'll kick the front up and it'll look weird. So we'll just do the front a bit, then we'll do another one in the middle, and then we'll work our way down. If the rivet's not going in properly and it's not your rivet gun, you can use your hammer with the rivet in the gun and tap it down to force it down into the hole. It'll normally work unless it's like proper stuck, then it'll just stuff the rivet. Little trick of the trade. Look at that. Look at that. It's like I'm telling the truth here, mate, eh? Okay, we're slowly getting them all together. Now we've discovered an issue that we have is our rivet gun isn't fitting properly inside the racks, the rails here. So what you can do to space it out is you put some washers in there like we've done there, and then that'll space out your rivet gun so that you can get on there properly. And I would also suggest using a bigger one because this one's pretty small and these are big rivets. So if you have an air rivet gun or just a bigger one, it'd be a lot easier than to do what we're doing. That was lovely. So yeah, we're almost done. And the hardest bit's going to be trying to snap these ends off once we've finished riveting, obviously. Look at that. We've got ourselves an air riveting gun. So that's riveting. So we'll get this done a lot quicker now we've got that. So we managed to, thank you Craigie for getting that. So we'll sort that out and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, so we put these little sliders in now. Nice and easy. And then is this called the spine bit or what's this called? Spine? Backbone. Backbone, spine, same shit technically. And that lines up, and then we put a little bolt on here and then that's one side. That looks pretty good, man. Now it's got to do that on this side. All right, now we are, oh goodness. Now we are setting up the rack spacing, or the bottom bit. This bit's the bit that goes onto the stuff we've put on the roof rack. Anyway, what's nice about these is they've actually got, I don't know if you can see that, they've got a little tab and they've got this ruler on here, which makes it really good for making sure that everything's square and lined up. So that's a nice little touch, but when you pay the money it is for one of these, you'd expect that sort of level of gear. Is that a torque wrench? Mm-hmm. Really? That's a torque wrench. Listen to that. How tremendous. That's freaking sick. I've never seen something like that before. Wow. We've mounted our roof rack and it's about to piss down again, as always. Straightforward, lift it up, line the holes up so you've got, can't really see now, you've got a few tabs up in here. Line them up with those and you can adjust all that to suit. Once that's on, that's the job finished. Quite simple, quite straightforward. All right, so this is it all installed. It has rained, so we're all a bit wet, but yes, that's what it looks like installed. Very nice, slim fitting, really tight under the roof there, which is great. To get it to fit properly, you got to take your antenna off. All you have to do is chuck it back through the top to get it done. And that's it, that's all installed. So that's how to install a roof rack on a Ranger. Thanks for watching, keep on boosting, and we'll see you next time.